Okay, hello everyone. Myself Manju Sharma from Suresh Kandiya University, Jagatpura, Jaipur. The department is School of Agriculture. So today we are going to start diseases of grapevine. Diseases of grapevine, in which the first disease is the Downy Mildew disease, and it is a major disease. So the causal organism of downy mildew is Plasmopara viticola. Their economic importance, like since 1875, this disease caused heavy losses to wine industry in France. Basically, the major use of grapes in for the wine production. So, since 1875 too, this disease caused heavy losses to wine industry in France, and it is a major disease. Okay. It led to discovery of Bordeaux mixture by Professor Millardet in 1885. The symptoms are like symptoms appear on all aerial and tender parts of the vine. Symptoms are more pronounced on leaves, young shoots, and immature berries. Irregular, yellowish, transculent spores limited by veins appear on upper surface of leaves. Like two types of disease is there, one is the downy mildew and another is the powdery mildew. So in powdery mildew, basically the white spots will be there, or the powder like appearance will be there, or in downy mildew basically spots are there. So correspondingly, on the lower surface, dirty white, downy growth of fungus appears. So due to the lower surface and basically the symptoms which will be shown on the lower surface of the leaves, that's why the name given downy mildew. And the powdery mildew symptoms which will be basically appear on the upper surface of leaves. Okay. So affected leaves become yellow and brown and dry due to necrosis. Premature defoliation will be there, like the leaves. So by the spores, and whenever the spores will be there, so they will be become enlarged in size, and after that the color of the leaves will be changed, and the leaf foliation will be there in early stage, or we can say premature defoliation will be there. Then the dwarfing of tender shoot, and the tender shoots which will be dwarf in size. Infected leaves, shoots, and tendrils are covered by whitish growth of the fungus, and we can easily see in the fungus because it will be in white in color. So white growth of fungus on berries, which subsequently becomes leathery and shrivels. So infected berries turn hard, bluish, green, and then brown. Later infection of barriers result in soft rot symptoms. Normally, the fully grown or maturing barriers do not contact fresh infection, as stroma turn non-functional and no cracking of the skin of the berries. So these are the symptoms of downy mildew disease of grapevine. Like here, you can see the spores which are yellow in color. So slowly, that is the upper surface of the leaf, and whenever we will turn the leaf, then the symptoms will be shown like that. These are also white in color, but they will be differ from powdery mildew disease. In powdery mildew disease, basically the powder like appearance will be there, but in downy mildew, on the upper surface of the leaves, yellow color spots will be there, or in powdery mildew only powder like appearance is there. Then the tendrils, on tendrils basically this kind of white growth will be shows, and the fruits will be also become infected. So these are the symptoms of downy mildew disease, and basically this disease is the major disease of grapevine. Like here, you can see yellowish translucent spores appear on upper surface of the leaves. But in the case of powdery mildew disease, uh, basically, the major symptom they will be looks like powder-like structure, but here the spores are yellowish or translucent, and spores appear on the upper surface of the leaves. And in another diagram, white fungus growth appears on berries. Okay, so it will be looks like that. And due to this disease, basically 70 to 80% loss of the crop. Mode of spread and survival. So throat sporangia by wind, rain, etc. as oospore, which present in the infected leaves, shoots and berries, also as dormant mycelium in infected twigs. Optimum temperature like 20 to 25 degrees centigrade, and the relative humidity is 80 to 100%. The favorable conditions like optimum temperature 20 to 22 degrees centigrade, like maximum 22 degree. Okay. Relative humidity 80 to 100%, and high soil oyster. So these are the condition which favorable for the pathogen. Dear management, so first is the field sanitation by collection and burning of fallen leaves and twigs. Wine should be kept high above ground to allow circulation of air by proper spacing, pruning like April, May, and September to October, and burning infected twigs. Grow resistant varieties like amber queen, cardinal, champa, champion, doggrace, and red sultana. These all are the these all are the resistant varieties of grapevine by which we can manage the disease. The disease can be effectively managed by giving 3 to 5 prophylactic spray with Bordeaux mixture 1%, or Fossetile, that is elite 0.2%, or curative spray or curative spray with metallexyl and mancozeb, that is Redomil MZ72 0.2%. Then spray schedule with Bordeaux mixture 1% and immediately after pruning of vines, spray schedule with Bordeaux mixture 1% and other chemicals. When new flesh is formed, then it should be 3 to 4 weeks after the pruning before buds open and when the bunches or barriers. So when new flesh is formed, then 3 to 4 weeks after pruning, then before buds open, when bunches or barriers are found, then during shoot growth. Then the next disease is the powdery mildew. So here powdery mildew disease, like the causal organism is Uncinnula nectar, that is Oidium chuckeri. Their economic importance, like losses in yield of fruits, may be up to 40 to 60%. In addition to loss of yield, infected berries tend to have higher acid content than healthy fruit and are unsuitable for wine making. So, due to this disease, basically 40 to 60% losses will be there, and in addition to loss of yield, infected berries tend to have higher acid content, and then healthy fruits are unsuitable for cooking. Symptoms are like the disease attacks vine at any stage of growth. All the aerial parts of the plant are attacked. And the cluster and berry infections usually appear first. So, floral infection results in shading of flowers and poor fruit set. Then, the early berry infection results in shedding of affected berries. Powdery growth is visible on older berries, and the infection result in the cracking of skin of the berries. But in case of downy mildew, basically the skin of the berries is not cracked. Okay, it was as usually, but in cloudy mildew, this happened. So often infected berries develop a net-like pattern of scar tissues. Then the powdery growth mostly on the upper surface of the leaves, malformation and and discoloration of affected leaves. Leaf lesions appear late and cause lesser damage than the cluster of berry infection, and the infection of stem leads to dark brown discoloration. So these are the symptoms. Like in powdery mildew, basically the powder like appearance is there, but in downy mildew it's happen, and the symptoms which we can see on the upper surface of the leaves. Okay. And in powdery mildew, basically the skin of the grapevine and the skin of the berries, it will be cracked in powdery mildew disease, but in downy mildew disease it's not happen. So these are the symptoms. Like in downy mildew, there was yellow color spores on the upper surface. Okay, and now the powdery growth mostly appears on upper surface of the leaves, and in another diagram, powdery growth on alder berries. So it will be in fact like leaves and the berries. Okay. Pathogen like white growth consists of mycelium, conidiophores are conidia, mycelium is external, septate and high aligned, and conidiophores are short and arise from external mycelium, and conidia are produced in chain. They are single celled, high aligned and barren. Then the mode of spread and survival. So mycelium is external, septate and high aligned. Conidiophores are short and arise from external mycelium. Conidia are produced in chain, so they are a single celled, high aligned and barrel shaped. So mode of spread and survival, it spread through the airborne conidia. So through the dormant mycelium and conidia present in the infected leaves or the infected shoots and buds, sultry warm condition with dull, cloudy weather and highly favorable. So whenever the weather will be cloudy or cloudy weather will be there, at that time basically the pathogen which will be spread long. Cool dry weather and maximum temperature in the range of 27 to 31 degrees centigrade with relative humidity up to 91% and fever disease incidence, that is November and in December. Their management like clean cultivation of vines or removal and destruction of all disease parts. So the dustings of vines with 300 mesh sulfur first when new shoots are 2 weeks old. So second prior to blushing, and third when the fruits are half. So basically there are different types of treatment which we have to give the grapevine only after a particular time. Then the prophylactic spray with Bordeaux mixture 1% or the lime sulfur at dormant stage delays development of disease by decreasing mineral nutrients. And due to this delays development of disease by decreasing initial inoculum. So if we will stop or inhibit the initial inoculum, then we can also protect the crop. Spray of vegetable sulfur. Spray of vegetable sulfur like 0.3% or dinocap of tridmorph, then oxythiocytinox, that is Moriston, it should be 0.03% spread at 4 days interval starting from last week of December to first week of March, and then grow the resistant varieties like Cholt Red, Cholt White, Shikiba Red, and Shikiba White disease. So here you can show the symptoms like downy mildew or powdery mildew, and what is the main difference then. Like in downy mildew, the color of the spores is yellowish in color, and in powdery mildew, like spores like sorry, uh, powdery mildew like powder like appearance, and the spores are white in color, and we can say that that is a fungus colony. Okay, and in downy mildew the color of the fruit and the color of the symptoms are like yellowish, and slowly they become will be larger. So we can easily identify by these symptoms in downy mildew or in powdery mildew. Powdery mildew disease, like always, they will give a powder like appearance, maybe in the formation of colony or maybe single. Okay, then diseases present at the same time like powdery mildew and downy mildew disease both can find and both can occur at the same time. Like downy mildew or powdery mildew, both the diseases can occur at the same time. After that, bird's eye spot or anthracnose disease. The causal organism is Gliosporium ampelophagum, that is Alcinoe ampelina. Bird's eye spot, like it will be give the appearance like the bird's eye. Okay, that's why the name given bird's eye spot or anthracnose. Like a disease in rice, basically in which frog eye-like symptoms are there, or the anthracnose disease of the grapevine in which the bird's eye spots are there. So economic importance, it is especially serious on new sprouts during the rainy season among various foliar diseases of grapevine. Among various foliar diseases of grapevine in India, anthracnose has longest spell spread over from June to October. So the symptoms are like visible on leaves, stem, tendrils and berries. Young shoot and fruits are more susceptible than the leaves. Circular grayish black spores or red spot with yellow halo. Yellow halo appear on young leaves, then later the center of the spores become gray, sucken and fall off, resulting in a symptom called shoot hole. So black sucken lesions appear on young shoots, cankerous lesions on older shoots, griddling and death of shoots may occur. Then next, infection on the stalk of bunches and berries results in the berries result in the shading of bunches and berries. Sucken spots with ashy gray center and dark margin appear on fruit bird eye symptoms. In warm and wet weather, pinkish spores mass develops in the center of spores, and then there is the mummification and shedding of berries. Like that is the symptoms of disease. In first diagram, young shoots are more susceptible than leaves. Like basically the anthracnose disease, which will be not happen easily, and the young shoots are more susceptible than the leaves. That's why the mostly symptom which we can observe on the shoots of the plant. And in another one, like circular grayish black spots are appear. And these are the bird's eye appearance. Spores become circular, sunken, ashy, gray color, surrounded by dark margin. So, due to these kind of symptoms, the name given bird's eye symptoms. Pathogen mycelium is septate and dark colored. Conidia single celled, oval and hyphae or high aligned. Their survival and spread, like primary survives as dormant mycelium in the infected stem cankers. The secondary is like wind-borne and rain-displaced conidia. Basically, the spores, those can transmit or disperse through the wind and through the water. Favorable conditions like warm wet weather with continuous drizzle of So there is the continuous drizzle of rain and windy weather for 2 to 3 days, low lying and till drained soil, and Anab E Shahi variety is susceptible. That means if we are cultivating the Anab E Shahi variety of the grapevine, then it will be susceptible for the disease anthracnose. Management, like first of all, removal of infected twigs. Like in any disease, if we just remove the infected part of the plant, then we can prevent the and we can manage the diseases. Selection of cuttings from disease free areas and dipping them in 3% FeSO4 like ferrous sulfate solution for 30 minutes before the planting. Like we can do the seed treatment. Okay. So spraying the Bodex mixture 1% or cock 0.25% or carbendazim that is 0.1%. Varieties like Bangalore Blue, Golden Muscat, Golden Queen, and Arias Belly are resistant. Like Golden Queen and Isabella are resistant varieties for anthracnose disease. Except this disease, if any other will be there, then we can also prevent the disease. Then the next one is Alternaria leaf spot, which goes by Alternaria whitish. The symptoms are like the initial state, minute yellow spores appear on the upper surface of leaves. Later spores enlarge. Later spores enlarge and form brownish spot with concentric rings in them. So individual spores appear rarely in the middle of the leaves. Like in all the diseases, basically the main symptoms are the spores. Spores in the sense only the color of the spores is changed, except that in all the diseases we can find the uh, like in powdery mildew, white color spores are there. In downy mildew, like their appearance is yellow in color. And in anthracnose disease, basically these type of symptoms are like in one yellow color spots are there in downy mildew at the upper surface of the leaves. In powdery mildew, like white color spots are there, and then they will be form a colony. Then the third disease was the anthracnose disease, in which birds eye-like symptoms. Okay. So here the symptoms of Alternaria leaf spot. So in the initial stage, minute yellow spots appear on the upper surface of the leaves. Later spots enlarge and form brownish spots with concentric rings in them. Individual spores appear rarely in the middle of the leaves, appearance of patches of spores mostly along the margin of leaves, and in severe cases of attack, leaves dry completely and defoliation occur. Survival and spread of pathogen, like primary survives as mycelium or conidia in infected plant debris. Secondary, like wind-borne conidia, so their favorable conditions are like high humidity, high rainfall, and dew, and heavy dose of nitrogenous fertilizers. Like if we will provide more nitrogen or more than from a particular concentration, then it will be favors the pathogen, and then the pathogen which cause the disease. Year management, like sanitation of the orchards, selection of disease free planting, and foliar spray of mancozeb, that is 0.25%. Then rust disease, causal organism is Phacospora evuvitis, economic importance, like common throughout Southeast Asia and other parts of the world. Cultivar black prince is highly susceptible. Symptoms are like minute yellow colored postulates and pustules are formed initially on lower surface and later on upper surface. So these postulates turn into orange powdery spores on the outside of mature grapevine leaves. So, under severe infection, the entire leaf surface is covered by sorry, leading to premature defoliation. So, the disease eventually weakens the vine due to poor shoot growth, and the reduction is quantity and quality of fruit, because if any disease will be there in the plant, then they will be automatically affect on the taste of fruit. Then survival and spread of pathogen, primary survival, in this disease, basically there is the formation of teliospores. So teliospores in infected plant debris, Melusma myriantha is the alternate host on which Puccinia and spores are produced. And the secondary, like wind-borne spores, like the spores, those will be spread through the wind, or they will be dispersed or transmitted by the wind. Their management, like field sanitation in the sense we have to clean the field or clear the field, because after harvesting the main crop, there are many types of plants are there, and we can say that crop residues will be there. if we are going to harvest any crop. Okay, so first of all we have to remove all the crop residues and all the parts those are present in the field. That is called field sanitation, because whenever the main crop will be not present in the field, then the pathogen which easily can get their nutrients from the crop residues or from their dead and decaying matter, or we can say that from other plants. So not only this crop, any crop which we are going to cultivating or cultivation, in that case firstly we have to clear the field, clean the field, or sanitation of the field. It is most important thing, and you can write this point in all types of disease management. So field sanitation. Another is the destruction of alternate host. Isprezinab 0.2% or dust sulfur 25 kg per hectare, or oxycarboxyn 2% or trimorphan 0.1%. And the breeding resistant varieties which we have to cultivate, so by which we can control or manage the different types of diseases. Like in management, two important things are there. Like one is the field sanitation and another is the crop rotation. Okay, because if we are not rotating the crop year wise, that means the fertility of the soil, which is also going to continue decrease. So, if we are applying the crop rotation, then we can fulfill the requirement of nutrients, and the soil will be healthy. Otherwise, the fertility of the soil continuously decrease if we are not applying the crop rotation. So, these kind of practices which we can add and we can apply in all types of crops in which we are going to manage the disease, and after that the chemical treatment will be there. So before chemical treatment and before using any type of chemicals, like it may be fungicide, bactericide, insecticide, pesticides, etc. Oh, so there are some cultural practices by which we can also manage the all types of diseases. Okay, cultural practice in the sense like field sanitation, rogging, protection, eradication. These all are the cultural practices. After that, like soil solarization is there. So due to this, we just plug out the soil, and after that we have to left for some days. So due to this, the lots of microorganisms those are present, so they all will be killed, because if the temperature will be high, in that case all the pathogen or the bacteria, fungi, etc., those can't survive there at the high temperature. Okay, or if we are applying the soil solarization, we can also give the hot water treatment also. So due to the hot water, basically loads of contamination which can remove. Okay. So basically these type of cultural practices we already discussed. We can say that in organic farming production and the organic production technology, in which like how we can maintain the diseases by without using any types of chemicals. Okay. So up to here, like all the diseases of grapevine, like downy mildew, then the powdery mildew disease, after that uh, anthracnose disease, and then alternaria leaf spot and rust disease. So in downy mildew, yellow color spots will be there on the upper surface of the leaves, and at the down surface or the lower surface, basically whitish type of symptoms will be appear, and it will be also infect the berries also. Okay. And the in powdery mildew disease, basically the symptoms which will be appear on the upper and lower surface both, but mostly they will be appear and their clear appearance at the lower surface. Then the third is the anthracnose disease, in which bird's eye like symptoms are there, and in this disease basically the stem which will be, or the young shoot, which are most susceptible than the leaves. Okay. And then alternaria leaf spot and rust disease, pathogen and their management. Thank you.